$27,000? Are you out of your mind? That's what I yelled at the polished woman standing on my porch, clutching a briefcase stuffed with legal papers. She claimed I owed back dues to a homeowners association since 1974, when I was barely 3 years old. I'd only bought this stunning lakefront mansion 3 months ago, with a clean title and a full inspection. But this HOA rep insisted I was on the hook for debts from before I could even tie my shoes. My dream home was turning into a nightmare, and I had no idea how deep this rabbit hole went. What happened next will leave you speechless. My name's Jack Thompson, 52, and I've been running a little antique shop called Vintage Finds in downtown Willow Lake for 15 years. After my divorce 5 years back, I was stuck in a cramped apartment above the shop, dreaming of a place with room to breathe. For nearly a year, I scoured the market for a lakefront property, something to call my own. The search was brutal: overpriced fixer-uppers, pushy realtors, and a budget capped at $280,000. I got outbid on 3 solid homes and was starting to think I'd be stuck in that apartment forever. Then my realtor, Emily, called with a lead. "Jack, I've got something special, but it's unusual," she said, her tone making my stomach twist. In real estate, unusual usually means trouble. But I was desperate, so I agreed to take a look. What I found was a 3,200 square foot mansion, built in 1924, sitting on 1.2 acres of prime lakefront land. The price? $265,000. I laughed out loud. "What's wrong with it?" I asked Emily. "Nothing that perfect comes that cheap without a catch." She explained it was an estate sale. The previous owner, Margaret Hensley, had passed away at 89, no heirs. The estate executor wanted a quick sale and was offering only a quitclaim deed, no warranty, no title insurance guarantee. That was my first red flag, but I was already smitten. Emily mentioned a dissolved HOA from the 70s and 80s, per county records, but brushed it off as no big deal. I should have listened to the warning bells, but I was too busy picturing myself sipping coffee on the wraparound porch, watching the sunrise over Willow Lake. Walking through the house, I was hooked. Gleaming hardwood floors, hand-carved moldings, and a timeless charm that screamed craftsmanship. "This place has good bones," I told Emily, running my hand along the oak banister. The estate executor smiled like I'd passed a test. The title search showed a minor cloud from the old HOA, but the title company cleared it, assuring me dissolved entities can't hold liens. Closing day was January 10th. I signed a mountain of papers, hand-cramping, and received the keys along with a cryptic note from Margaret. "To the new owner, may you complete what I could not." I chalked it up to an old woman's sentimentality. Moving in was a dream. My antique furniture finally had space to shine. I set up my office in Margaret's old study, planning renovations with my $15,000 savings: paint, deck repairs, basement waterproofing, electrical updates. Simple stuff to honor the house's character. But 3 weeks in, I stumbled onto something in the basement that changed everything. Margaret hadn't just left me a house, she'd left me a mystery. Her untouched basement office was like a time capsule: coffee rings on the desk, reading glasses on engineering drawings, and professional-grade surveying equipment. Transit-level, steel stakes, a compass, all marked MH Property, Survey 1985. Why would an 89-year-old need this stuff? And why was it left behind? The real shocker was a locked box labeled for the next owner only. It rattled when I shook it, but I couldn't crack it open. Margaret's note echoed in my mind. "May you complete what I could not." It felt like she'd planned this. I dove into renovations, hiring contractors, and stripping wallpaper myself. During breaks, I pored over Margaret's drawings, precise property boundary maps with GPS coordinates and notes about HOA disputes and county record discrepancies. Following her maps, I found buried steel survey markers at each property corner, matching her coordinates to the centimeter. This wasn't a hobby. Margaret was building a case. Her office revealed more: a coffee mug, a calendar marking daily measurements until her final week. She was a professional engineer, not just a homeowner. Then Emily called with a bombshell. Margaret's will specified the buyer be an antique dealer who valued history and understood old secrets. She'd chosen me deliberately. The renovations progressed beautifully: new paint, restored deck, updated wiring. By mid-March, the house was a showpiece. But that lockbox nagged at me. The antique compass, which should have pointed north, spun erratically, like it was trying to tell me something. On March 15th, as I admired the sunset from my porch, the compass went wild, spinning frantically through the office window. Then the doorbell rang. A woman stood there, briefcase in hand, looking like she'd stepped out of a corporate boardroom. Her card read Susan Carter, Willow Lake HOA, President. Mr. Thompson, she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. We need to discuss your property's outstanding assessments. My stomach dropped. Emily had sworn there was no active HOA. Susan spread her documents across my dining table like a prosecutor. Real estate license, HOA certification, notarized papers. She claimed the HOA, established in 1974 but dissolved in 1982, had been reactivated under Wisconsin law. Then came the gut punch, a spreadsheet showing Margaret's unpaid assessments from 1974, totaling $18,450 with 6% annual interest, plus $8,550 in fines for my unpermitted renovations. Total due, $27,000. My coffee went cold as I punched the numbers into her calculator. They checked out. She cited Wisconsin statutes 703.27 and 703.165, rattling them off like a seasoned lawyer. Her documents looked airtight, official letterhead, signatures, county stamps. She showed photos of my house with red circles marking violations, deck repairs, paint color, landscaping. Every improvement I'd made with care was now a fine. Susan's tone was calm, almost sympathetic, but her message was clear. Pay by April 15th or face foreclosure. She even pulled out case files, other homeowners who'd paid or lost their homes. It felt like a shakedown, but her paperwork was flawless. Then she opened a manila envelope, claiming Margaret had predicted my resistance. The new owner will claim ignorance, Susan read from a supposed letter in Margaret's handwriting. Follow standard collection procedures. It felt like a betrayal, but something didn't add up. Why would Margaret set me up? As Susan packed up, my phone buzzed with an anonymous text. Check Margaret's lockbox. Key under the blue survey stake. Trust no one. A friend. Heart pounding, I found the key under the stake and opened the box. Inside were Margaret's real HOA files. Years of payment attempts, all returned address unknown. She tried to pay the dissolved HOA, contradicting Susan's claims. I called a lawyer, Tom Bradley, who charged $300 an hour. He confirmed Susan's documents looked legit, but warned a legal fight could cost $25,000 with no guaranteed win. The system favored deep pockets, and HOAs usually had them. I researched HOA law relentlessly, but Wisconsin statutes supported Susan's claims. My title insurance was useless. They'd cleared the title based on available data. Driving around, I noticed other lakefront homes with fresh renovations. Were their owners facing the same demands? At an HOA meeting, Susan and her board, Mary Johnson, secretary, Robert Klein, treasurer, and Patricia Hayes, compliance officer, demanded I sign a non-disclosure agreement. I refused and was exiled to the hallway, hearing my name and dollar figures through the door. Susan bragged about similar collections, then dropped a bombshell. The Thompson property's worth $400,000. After foreclosure, we'll clear $350,000. This wasn't about dues, it was about stealing my home. Mary dropped her keys outside, labeled County Records H. Bennett. Her notepad read HB Tuesdays, 3 p.m. She looked terrified when I returned them. Susan's daughter, Claire, delivered documents, avoiding eye contact. Under pressure, I signed a $31,400 payment plan, $5,000 upfront, $1,100 monthly for 2 years. It felt like signing my life away. But Susan's signature on the agreement didn't match her HOA documents. She was forging signatures. In the basement, I found Margaret's hidden waterproof bag behind loose bricks. It held 18 months of evidence, returned HOA payments, bank statements showing money sent to Susan's Willow Lake Services LLC, and notes on her scams since 1997, targeting elderly owners like Mrs. Larson, 1997, Mr. Edwards, 2003, and the Lee family, 2019. Margaret had built a case like an engineer, documenting every detail. Her final note warned, Susan's been running this for decades. Don't confront her alone. She has connections everywhere. I researched the Lee family. Their colonial home, owned for 43 years, was sold for pennies in 2019 after Susan's demands. Mrs. Lee's 2020 obituary cited financial stress. Furious, I confronted Susan at her office, laying out Margaret's evidence. She didn't flinch, showing doctored ring footage of me carrying a suspicious bag, my tools, at 2:17 a.m., implying I'd planted evidence. Then she weaponized her network. My shop's reviews tanked with fake claims of stolen goods. Suppliers got warning calls. My bank flagged my $45,000 loan. By Friday, I faced foreclosure on my shop and home. City inspectors, tipped by Susan, investigated my renovations, finding no violations but forcing a temporary evacuation for a structural review. I moved to a motel, defeated. Then Mary approached me, guilt-ridden. Harold Bennett at County Records is investigating Susan's filings, she whispered. Signatures don't match. Dates are off. A text from Susan threatened Mary's family, mentioning the Lee property. Harold, a 30-year veteran, had Margaret's files submitted to the FBI, State Attorney General, and county. Susan's scam spanned 12 families, $340,000 in fake fees, and forced sales. Claire, Susan's daughter, contacted Harold, spotting legal irregularities. She agreed to wear a wire, risking her career and family ties. Susan planned to flee Monday night with the money, transferring it offshore. Tuesday's public hearing was electric. Harold presented Susan's fraud, forged signatures, misdated filings, $340,000 stolen, 12 families ruined. Claire's wire recordings played Susan planning her escape. The community gasped as their trusted realtor was exposed. Susan screamed at Claire, accusing her of betrayal, before federal agents arrested her for wire fraud, mail fraud, elder abuse, and money laundering, facing 20 to 30 years. Harold dropped another bombshell. The lakefront land belonged to the Franklin family, displaced in 1962 by racist urban renewal policies. Margaret had bought the house in 1985, knowing its history, and sent $180,000 anonymously to Franklin descendants for education and medical bills. I found her hidden records, confirming 30 years of atonement. I turned the mansion's east wing into the Willow Lake Heritage Center, documenting the Franklin family's story and Margaret's redemption. Claire, now jobless, helped secure its historical designation. Susan got 18 years. Her assets were seized to repay victims. At the center's opening, Mrs. Diane Franklin thanked Margaret's memory. Kids played in a memorial garden, learning their shared history. Margaret didn't just give me evidence to stop Susan. She entrusted me to heal a community's wounds. Her compass, now displayed, points true north, symbolizing justice through truth and reconciliation. What do you think? Have you faced financial exploitation or historical injustice? Share your thoughts below. Should we fight these battles alone or together? Your voice matters.